I mean, I discovered about you, that you were a former sniper, and that you used to take on some real life dangerous missions. So could you go into a little bit about what your role in the army was, and how it changed you, how you viewed the world, the kind of things you learned from being in the military?
Yeah, I would say at the core, when I look at the military and I think, okay, how did it change me? How did it, change like the way I live life now? What's it done to me? I would say if I were to sum it up, bring it all the way down to a thing, is I learned this. There's a saying out there called talking about learning on within the other side of complexity. It's Oliver Wendell He says, "I would not give a fig to live this side of complexity, but I'd give my life to live on the other." And what that means is anything we do in the SEAL teams, we do until we become a master of it. And that's another way of saying living on the far side of complexity. Things are as simple, if not more simple, but you've done the work. You've identified all the things that mattered, and you've mastered them. You put processes and practices until they became your intuition and habit. And that is the biggest thing I've taken away from the military, because now inside of an entrepreneur world, as a writer, consulting for different people on some odd and amazing projects, it's that ability right there, is to say, okay, there's going to be a lot of things going on here. I'm going to process it and master it rather than react to it and let it take me out. And that's been the biggest takeaway, the biggest thing I've taken out of the military.
And is that the sort of thing that you miss, but when you've brought that into your own life? But is there anything that you sometimes crave? Is it the danger, or are you quite glad that you're now you've left and started a family, etc.?
As far as what I miss, it's definitely will come down to the brotherhood, and I mean true brotherhood, having very particularly unique and loyal people around you with unique skill sets and the same orientation to mastery. That was the hardest part. I found after I'd gotten out, there'd been a few years where I'd slowly detached from that, and affected the way I performed. It affected the way I lived life. That was one of the biggest things. Again, so much that's part of the reason, a big reason I formed that group to work with this year, is I needed to make sure I had enough brotherhood around me and enough brotherhood around the guys that I'm working with, so we can really kick ass in life and dominate and have a good time. People don't understand truly the power that comes from being in a brotherhood like that. It's one human being plus one human being equals like 50 human beings when you're inside of a highly functioning team like that. And that's what I miss the most. But now I'm rebuilding that in my life as well as in the life of others. So I'm bringing that back and loving doing that.
No, and you can hear the passion in your voice when you talk about it. Every time I've seen you mention about the brotherhood, the boat group, etc., you can see the passion and desire, and it's something I was very interested in because I want to build that kind of life myself. So for people who are listening, what do you think non-military men can take from that kind of lifestyle? Is it the discipline? Is it the routine? What can somebody who's never been in the military learn from a military person to better their life?
I wouldn't say learn from a military person. I would say learn from the military process, because individuals, just because you're in the military, you might have been exposed to the process, have been in the process, but most people won't have been witting to it. They won't know what was really going on at the time, and most won't look back to figure it out. I've only done it because it's my job to do it, so I study and look at it. So I think how you can approach that, like, all right, what are those lessons learned from the military? And I'd say that's it again. I'm going to come back to those processes, traveling through complexity, mastering things, producing standard operating procedures in your life. Like when we talk about manhood, think about this, like a McDonald's drive-through employee, I guarantee if we'd go in there, we'd find a binder that would spell out their roles and responsibility. Right? Yeah. Like McDonald's takes it that seriously, the cheeseburger sales. But I can ask any man, I've asked it many, many times. No one's ever said yes to this, but I'd say, where's your roles and responsibility as a man, as a father? Show me it on paper. Show me it anywhere, in crayon, on a chalkboard, back of a napkin. People don't take their roles seriously So in the military, because it's life or death, we tend to take things more seriously. So we'll document these things, we'll evolve these things, we'll reference back to those things because they're important, and we know that they're important. But think how important your role is as a father, as a husband, as a breadwinner, whatever it is. They're equally as important. The consequences just don't come as fast. So what somebody can learn from the military is to take your role seriously, or at least as seriously as somebody working at McDonald's selling cheeseburger. Like it's just, once you think about it this way, it's insane to try to operate in this dynamic and complex environment as a man without having at least something written down. You know what I mean? As far as your plan to do it. Yeah. That's what I'd say to take away.